Hello, I'm deciding to start a video journal. I want to talk a little bit about my journey to get me to here and then track what's going to happen over the next several months. So where to start? I think I'll start at the beginning. Well, sort of, not really the beginning. My name is Michelle. I'm 48 years old. I'm a mother of two. They're 18 and 14. I'm a dog trainer and behavior consultant. I live in the Northeast, and I'm a hockey mom. What else? Anyway, so my health journey, I want to talk about that. And then we'll talk about a little bit about my spiritual journey as well. But my health journey in particular, over the last, I would say, 15 years or so, I've experienced a lot of health issues that lots of different doctors have told me have been in my head or just getting older. They've prescribed medications that I don't take because they don't help and they don't make me feel well. But things that I have dealt with are, and I'm just going to list them, and rather than go into detail about what they are, you can kind of ask questions, or you can look them up. So I have these are diagnoses that I have. Endometriosis, that's been since after the birth of my second child. That was an official diagnosis. We have GERD, so gastrointestinal reflux, that I've had. It's been controlled on medication, but it's there, and there is erosion in my esophagus, which is why I'm on prescription medication, Protonics. I have hidradenitis, which is controlled by minocycline. Those are pretty much the only two medications that I take daily. I have migraines occasionally. More recently, really only with my cycle, I will get one. I used to get them clustered. I'd have like 2 or 3 in a week, and then I'd maybe have a week or 2 off, and then 2 or 3 more. And then I've had diagnoses of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. I don't really accept those as diagnoses because I don't think they're actually, it doesn't explain the cause. I'm not saying they're not real. Definitely the pain was very real, but I don't accept those as like the cause of the pain. I want to know what caused the fibromyalgia, and none of the doctors ever were able to tell me that, except I did go through treatments with a PA who was a Lyme literate PA who diagnosed me with Lyme disease along with Bartonella, Babesia, and Brucella. And I did treatments for that, and symptoms improved greatly, maybe 70 to 75%, maybe even up to 80%, because some of the symptoms completely resolved with that treatment, which was over the course of 2 years, lots of different antibiotics, cycling, and nutritional and supplements and all that kind of stuff. And I did get a little better, and that was probably about 6 years ago. Maybe even more. Might have been 10 years ago. I don't know. Between 10 and 5 years ago, I did that. And again, I felt better for a while. And then last summer, I had some abdominal pain, which I thought was just endometriosis again, and I let it go for about a week, and then finally went to the ER and was diagnosed with diverticulitis with a microperforation. So that allowed me to stay in the hospital for 6 days and then come out on a low fiber diet until that all kind of healed. And during that time, I was doing a lot of research and had found Dr. Sean Baker and Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee and Dr. Wiedemann, and along with Laura Spath and Carnivore Quest and Lily Kane, and started really kind of looking into the carnivore diet, because keto had always been interesting to me, but I thought it was a fad. And also the idea of having to measure everything and figure out macros was overwhelming to me. But But carnivore seemed intriguing because first of all, it was low fiber, which is what I was doing. There's no fiber. And it seemed just simple, just really simple. I didn't have to measure anything. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just give this a try and see how this goes. And I did. And it took me a while. I experimented with just eating more meat and eliminated processed foods, which I kind of did anyway as I came out of the hospital, which, by the way, the hospital is the absolute worst place to be if you need something nutritionally specific, because I was 5 days with no food or anything orally except a sip of water to take my medication every day. And the first anything I could take first, it was clear liquids. And the clear liquids tray was apple juice, cranberry juice, ginger ale, Italian ice, Jell-O. It was all sugar. And of course I was starving after 5 days. So I ate it all, drank it all, and was so sick. And then the next day when they said I could eat solid foods, they have a soy allergy in my chart, because I've been avoiding soy since the endometriosis diagnosis, or at least minimizing it. So first thing I asked for was they had baked chicken on the menu, and they said, no, that's prepared in soy. I'm like, all right, fine. And I don't remember what the second thing was that I asked for, but they said, no, you can't have that either. So I said, okay, what can I have for my first meal with diverticulitis? And they said I could have mac and cheese, I could have a grilled cheese sandwich, I could have pasta with meatballs, I can have, and I was just in amazement, and said to the dietitian, so I've been 5 days NPO with a GI upset, and the first meal you're giving me is dairy and gluten? Not that I'm celiac, but as a mom, when my kids had an upset tummy, dairy and gluten were kind of things we avoided. And she's like, yeah, well, it's low fiber, so that's what you can have. I didn't. I had pretty much bacon and eggs and pot roast for every meal that I remained in the hospital. And those were sat really well and digested really well. And so back to my story, after I got out of the hospital, I came back and started looking into carnivore diet. And especially, there was a video by Dr. Berry that talked about kind of, 7 signs or 10 signs that you might be a sugar addict. And then there was a video, which is every single one of those things I did. I would, hide foods from my kids so that they wouldn't eat them. Cookies. I would, after work at night, I teach classes until 9 o'clock at night. I would go through the Dairy Queen drive-through and get a milkshake and throw away the cup in the outside garbage so nobody saw that I had a milkshake at night. So I definitely was doing those things. And in that video, he talked about how if you eat anything sweet, so even artificial sweeteners, it will keep that craving alive. And I definitely felt, and fruits as well. And I was big on, getting the really super sweet fruits. And it would definitely, and still, if I have a little bit now, even as a carnivore, I will experiment with things here and there and say, oh, well, I'll have some, there's blueberries are fresh at the farm stand. I'll try some of those. And if I have some blueberries, I definitely want more, or I want something sweet for a little while after. It's not as bad as it used to be, but definitely that resonated with me. And then there was a video with Laura Spath talking about her story about how she would self-sabotage, and she's not a good moderator, but she's a good abstainer. And I thought, oh, that has been my problem with every diet I've ever tried, is that it's like, oh, I'll cut back on the sweets, but I'm still going to have, I'm going to reward myself. If I go 3 days without having any sugar or any dessert, then I'm going to reward myself with the ice cream sundae. And so that was me too. Definitely that was me. And so I thought, well, okay, let's see if I could increase my meat and reduce the processed foods, or eliminate the processed foods. And so then it was for a while not eating anything out of a box. Everything had to be kind of fresh whole foods. And I did pretty good with that. And then one day, October 24th, 2022, I decided that morning when I woke up, I was going to try to not put sugar in my coffee. Because that was the thing, right? Okay, giving up sugar is like, okay, well, I've given up sugar before, except in my coffee for periods of time. So it's like, all right, well, we have to eliminate all of the sugar, right? So let's see. I'm just going to see if I can just eliminate from the coffee, because that's always been the holdout, right? So that morning I woke up and I did not put sugar in my coffee. And I got to the end of the day and it wasn't that hard. It didn't taste horrible, and I still had the coffee. And I didn't get the withdrawal headache because I still drank the coffee with just cream in it, just heavy cream or half and half, whatever we had at that time. And I said, the next morning I woke up and I said, okay, I'm going to do this again because it wasn't that hard. And by the second day, I decided I was going to just go to the end of the week. And it was also not hard to not snack at night, which I would just fill up a big water bottle with some ice water. It had to be cold for whatever reason. It made me want to keep drinking it. And so anytime I felt like I needed to snack while we were watching TV or whatever, I would just take a sip of water, and it passed. The need to munch on something passed very easily. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to the end of the week. And on day 5 of my carnivore journey, I woke up for the very first time with 0 pain in my body. No joint pain, no muscle pain, no headache. And I got out of bed and I felt really good. And a couple days later, probably by the end of the first week, day 7, I realized that I could move my fingers better. Nothing was swollen. And I didn't realize that for the last 15 years, everything was inflamed. Everything was swollen. And I didn't realize that until it wasn't. And so I woke up and I felt good and I felt flexible and I felt like my shoes fit better and my pants fit a little bit better and I could move my hands, and my wedding ring still doesn't fit, but that's fine. I've got a ways to go, but it's come a long way, and I just felt really good. And by day 10, again, for the first time in 15 years, I went through the whole day and didn't have periods of brain fog where I couldn't think straight or put a thought together or remember what I came into a room for, which had been an ongoing issue as well, which they blamed on Lyme disease, or I blamed on Lyme disease. All that went away. And by then I was hooked. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the whole month. I'm going to do 30 days. And in that 30 days, my cousin got married. I went to the wedding. They had a pizza truck from one of my favorite pizza places. I didn't eat the pizza. I ate the toppings. I got a slice of meaty pizza and ate the toppings off of it. And they had a big charcuterie board, and I had some meats and cheeses. I kept some goat cheese on my plate, so when everybody else had cake, I had some goat cheese, and I felt like that was good. That was delicious. And I got through that, and I had a good time, and I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. And I thought that was amazing. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this for 90 days, which took me through the holidays. Now, for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm the baker. I'm the one who makes grandma's Christmas cake and the cookies for the holidays. And I made all that stuff. I wasn't even tempted to lick a spoon, which I found amazing because in my past, again, I'm a sugar addict. Sugar was important, Tasting everything you're cooking is important. That's like part of the process and part of the fun. I didn't miss it. I did make for Christmas a keto cheesecake that I think I got a recipe or an idea of a recipe from Dr. Baker, and I made a keto cheesecake so that I would have something while everyone else was having holiday dessert. I would have something to eat, and I did, and it was great. And I didn't feel like I needed to have the Christmas cake or my famous oatmeal chocolate cookies. Didn't have to have them. Everybody else ate them and enjoyed them. And I was happy that I was still able to make them for everybody, but I didn't need to have them myself. And I thought that was pretty amazing. And by the time I got to the end of 90 days, I was hooked. I was like, I look at ice cream now. And so in the past, ice cream was its own food group, and it was the most important food group to me. Ice cream was wonderful. When I was growing up, my mother owned an ice cream parlor. Like, I'm a connoisseur of ice cream. And now I can buy ice cream for my kids and watch them eat it and think, God, I would feel so awful if I had that. Instead of thinking, I bet that tastes so good and I can't have it and it's terrible. I don't want it. I don't want to feel the way that I know that might make me feel. And maybe not the first taste, but I question my own ability to be able to stop after the first taste. So I'm not tempted. I'm really not. I don't miss it. If I feel like I need something sweet, I do keep some brown butter bites in the freezer, and that satiates me. It satisfies that need. If I feel I need something sweet, I just have some fat. And nothing is sweeter than pork belly. And so I feel good. And since October, and so today is August 8th. Today's August 8th, 2023. So we're 9 months and a little bit into my carnivore journey. And here's what's happened. I no longer have migrating joint pain. I no longer have just generalized muscle or joint pain, unless I eat something that reacts, that has a histamine response or something and causes some inflammation. And then I can recognize it, like, oh, I had that chili, there was some tomatoes and onions and peppers in there, and today I feel a little inflamed and swollen and maybe a little achy, and I can recognize that. Or, oh, we ate out and I got that pulled pork sandwich, which I know had barbecue sauce on it, which maybe was not the best, cleanest ingredient, and there's a little bit of inflammation today, but I can recognize that and I can work through that and then decide the next time, do I want to risk that again, or do I just have something else like a burger patty or something. And so it's been a really easy journey and I feel really good. So the pain, the daily, all day, every day pain is gone. The brain fog is gone. All GI symptoms. So before the diverticulitis, I would have what I would call not officially diagnosed, but what even my GI doctor has referred to as a mild IBS, mild to moderate IBS, I guess. I would have periods of constipation and periods of diarrhea. And all of that has completely resolved. My tummy is very calm. I used to have really bad gas. I don't have that anymore. I just don't experience that. And by really bad, I mean painful. It would I don't want to say bottle, but it was there, and you could feel you could hear it kind of gurgling through my intestines as it was traveling through. And there'd be moments where it was really uncomfortable, and all that's gone. I have a very most regular GI system now than I have ever had, more than even, since I've been in my teens or 20s. Everything is calm there. It's really good. I have cut my pantoprazole, which is or Protonix is the brand name, the medicine I take for gastric reflux. I've cut it in half twice. So went from 40 milligrams twice a day to 40 milligrams once a day, and then down to 20 milligrams once a day. And I hope to eliminate it completely because I'm doing really well. I don't have any symptoms. Unless I, again, have something a little too spicy or something that I didn't prepare myself, and I'm not sure if maybe there was some soybean oil or something in the cooking surface. And I'm not obsessive about that. I don't, if we are eating out at a restaurant, I will order meat, but I don't say, oh, how do you prepare it? Well, sometimes I do, but I'll ask, like, oh, meatballs, is there breading in the meatballs? And I won't have it. If I get chicken wings, if they're, baked in an oven or fried in tallow, which I believe Buffalo Wild Wings, fries them in tallow, I will have the chicken wings. If they're cooked in deep fried in soybean oil, I will avoid them, because I have, even before this, tried to avoid or minimize soy. What else? The hidradenitis is still, I'm still using the minocycline, and when I've tried to taper down, I do usually have that pop up a little bit. So I haven't really focused on that. I've been focusing more on the GI stuff, because that was the kind of the catalyst for this change. The endometriosis, so again, it was controlled with the Mirena, but the next chapter in my story has to do with a new issue that's come up for me, and that is breast cancer. So on June 27th, I think, I found a lump in my left breast. And on June 29th, I saw my doctor. She confirmed, yep, we need to get that checked out. And I went through the processes over the next several weeks of getting a diagnostic mammogram with an ultrasound and a biopsy. And then that came back positive for metastatic triple negative breast cancer in my left breast and in my left lymph node. And there's 1 or 2 lymph nodes that are affected in the left armpit. Now, I have been trying to get away from seeing doctors and trying to get off of all the medications, and now I need to accept that I need to trust the doctors, and they're going to put poison in me. So the plan, and I did, by the way, I do have a naturopath that I've been seeing for a while. She's been helping me get out, even through this process of carnivore, get off medications or reduce medications, and take care of things like the migraines. Again, I will occasionally have one with my cycle, but it's not a cluster of like 3 in a week and then 3 in the following week. So migraines are significantly improved on carnivore as well. And I think that the naturopath has also helped me with that. I've been having acupuncture. I still go to the chiropractor. So even the naturopath, and I consulted with a functional medicine doctor locally. Both of them said that they do not recommend me skipping the chemotherapy. The plan is to do chemotherapy first to shrink the tumor, and they said they have a really good success rate of shrinking and maybe even eliminating it from the lymph nodes, so that the lymph nodes do not need to be removed. I will then have surgery, and then probably radiation after that. I plan to continue to see the naturopath and the chiropractor and the functional medicine doctor to help support and mitigate the side effects from the chemo. And I'm doubling down on carnivore. I'm really greatly eliminating sugar because cancer feeds on sugar. And so I'm not used to videotaping myself, and so I'm like looking at my own face talking instead of looking at where the camera is. But so if I'm shifty, that's why I'm distracted by my own movements. So I'm starting this journey now, fighting breast cancer, but as a carnivore. And I feel like if I had gotten this diagnosis before I had changed my diet, it would have been absolutely overwhelming, because I felt awful every day and I was in pain every day already. And I feel like I may not have had the will to put up a fight. The other thing is, if I receive a diagnosis of cancer and then said, oh, well, maybe I should give up sugar, I would be overwhelmed with the diagnosis, and the thought of giving up all of the foods that I loved would have been it would have been unacceptable to me. And at the cancer hospital, they say just eat what you feel like eating because you have cancer. Like, don't deprive yourself. It would have felt like deprivation if I didn't know how good I would feel giving it up. And I feel so good. I don't feel deprived. And so that hard part's already been done. And I feel like how good I feel right now, how much energy I have right now. Like, I want to go for walks. I don't feel like I need to make myself exercise. I feel like that energy and how good I feel gives me the strength to be strong and fight this. So that's my story. And hopefully I'll be posting this video and others to kind of keep track of my journey. I don't know how much I'll feel like sharing. My hair starts falling out or anything, but I just figured I need to journal it, even if it's just for myself. I need to journal that, or my kids. I want to keep track of this journey. So that's my story. Thanks for listening. And I don't really know what else to say. Talk to you soon. Thanks.